Welcome to the GCC Podcast presented by gatewAI. Today, we are delighted to welcome Ramya Parashar, Chief Operating Officer and Board Member at MIQ. MIQ is a global programmatic media partner specializing in data-driven advertising and advanced analytics to optimize digital marketing campaigns. Ramya is a visionary leader recognized as Forbes' Self-Made Women, top 25 GCC heads, and one of the top 100 most influential AI leaders. I looked up your profile on LinkedIn. It's very inspiring.
Thanks, Suchita.
We're excited to hear her insights on the evolution of GCCs and the future of this dynamic ecosystem. Welcome, Ramya, and I'd like to know, how does it feel to be on the podcast today?
I'm excited. First of all, thank you so much for inviting me to the podcast. I must say this is my first podcast. I think it's kind of, I've been looking forward to talking to you and having this conversation, Suchita.
Thank you so much. Thanks, Ramya. So I'll just get straight into some questions that we have for you. This one specific to the industry, and I'd like to know, as one of the top 25 GCC heads, that's quite a title to hold, and a proponent of the disruptive innovation that's happening around us. How do you see the role of GCCs evolving in driving transformative change across industries?
That's an interesting and quite a deep question, Suchita. If you look at GCCs, I think GCCs in itself have evolved very significantly, and there was a phase when GCCs were referenced to be more cost arbitrage or cost-effective kind of a support hubs. But over the last few years, we see that GCCs are also now becoming more into strategic innovation powerhouses. And when I say strategic powerhouses, it's more about, how do we drive transformational change across industries, across domains. And we are also looking at what is the value creation for the headquarters that's based out of, global regions. But at the end of the day, I think GCCs today are looking at how can they embed their approach or execution into the core business strategy. And core business strategy does not mean that we are looked at more like transactional or executional centers, but more so around how do we bring in more cutting edge technologies, be it AI or automation or analytics. But at the end of the day, we also look at how can we drive efficiencies. You're looking at enhancing customer experiences. And at the same time, we're also talking a lot about how do we unlock new revenue? So that's a lot for GCCs to kind of be focused on. For me, when I kind of take a step back and look at how does disruptive innovation truly can be contributed by GCCs. One, of course, is there is this AI wave that everyone's talking about, and GCC is definitely at the nucleus of all of those changes. Today, irrespective of what business or domains we are operating in, every organization has to deal with multiple data sets, be it customer data sets, your own internal data partners that you have onboarded. So when you look at all of those data sets, we talk a lot about how can you bring in more training models, how can you refine the algorithms, drive more predictive intelligence that ultimately empowers the business to move faster and also make a lot of informed decisions. And that ability, to me, bringing in AI and data-led transformation is one of the core for GCC. Now, beyond the technology aspect, right, let's talk a little bit about talent. There have been different phases that organizations have gone through. And very recently, I think today, I was reading an article that was talking about it's become so difficult to hire talent. But at the same time, now GCCs are talking about not just hiring talent, but how do we transform talent? And transformation of talent also comes with understanding future skills, which means that GCCs are looking at reshaping the global talent landscape. That reshaping comes with a lot of skilling, cross-functional collaboration, and creating a workforce for the future. And workforce for the future has to be very deeply integrated with technical expertise, but at the same time, and I cannot stress more about this, business skills is paramount. And today, GCCs are looking at how can they get the teams here closer to the business, closer to client interactions, get them that needed face time with the clients so they are able to stay ahead.
Yeah.
Apart from that, to me, I also feel that there have also been conversations about GCCs as a service, which is kind of making wave right now. And to me, I would definitely love to see a future where GCCs don't just serve their headquartered or parent organization, but also look at in their span of control, how can they become more integrated towards all of the solutions that drive innovation, that drive that own the entire value chain, but at the same time be at the core of driving growth, EBITDA, revenue, and more partnership models.
There's this whole thing going that GCCs are the second headquarters. The parent headquarter, the parent company can be anywhere, but GCCs here in India are now becoming the second headquarters, to the parent organization as well. So, you were talking about talent, and I'm just shifting gears here because I do know you are the COO, which gives you a people perspective. And you're also on the board of MIQ, and your expertise in people management and scaling complex organizations is something that, I read about as well. How do you approach building high performing teams within GCCs like yours, to speak about yours? I was looking at your website, very vibrant. There's so much happening in the digital marketing space as well, right? So I'd like to hear more on how you help scale people.
Yeah, absolutely, Suchita. And I'll kind of give you a COO kind of an answer to this, because one, of course, it comes with a lot of experience and different business challenges you get exposed to.
Yes.
But building high performing teams, to me, within GCCs has to be deeply tied to your operational excellence, your strategic talent management as to what programs and practices you're kind of trying to bring in. At the same time, how do you drive a culture of innovation? These three pillars are at the core of how do you build a high performing team? Now, for me, I will also take a step back and look at when you are talking about talent transformation, there are multiple areas that the leaders look at. And I think it starts with how well GCCs integrate themselves with the business strategy. And business strategy is mainly around not just executing tasks, but more focused on, am I driving business outcomes for the board that's kind of entrusted you on? And GCCs today, when they look at global priorities, while they have the autonomy to tailor some of the strategies for the local impact, I think driving a lot of clarity, purpose, and agility to me is starting off building a high performing team. The second one is when you talk about performance, building a performance driven culture to me as a COO is also very crucial, because then you're talking about what are the objectives the individuals are signing up for, how do you measure their impact to the business. But performance at the end of the day isn't just about the numbers. I think what leaders will have to truly look into is how do they try to drive or foster a growth mindset. Growth mindset in people where you can take calculated risk, but at the same time talk a lot about continuous improvement. So that's one area. The other one, which I kind of imbibe with my teams also, is the operational rigor. Operational rigor combined with your innovation will ultimately drive scalable success for us. And that comes across like innovation can't thrive without structure. And I don't know if you agree with this, Suchita, but to me, it feels that if you have strong operational frameworks, if you're able to enhance efficiency and allow the teams to focus on high value problem solving tasks rather than administrative ones, there will automatically be an operational rigor. And that discipline in itself brings in a lot of creative thinking as to how can you scale some of the complex problems. Last but not the least, I would talk a lot about how do you bring data and insights to drive your decisions forward, but drive cross-border collaboration and influence. As leaders, you are always at the center of hiring for top talent, retention of the top talent, and not just looking at the current needs of the industry, but also the future scalability of your own business. And for us at Center of Excellence, we always constantly look for how can you drive an inclusive high-performing culture. And that inclusive high-performing culture comes through looking at upskilling, providing mentorship opportunities, but also cross-functional expertise. So that's what I look for.
No, that's a fantastic answer because, you've talked about skilling, you've talked about organizational structures, you've talked about, setting rigor in the operational activities that go on, and you've touched upon tech and, using data sets. That's absolutely most holistic response I've ever received. So thank you for that. Moving on to the future outlook, right? So, I want to know, as a recognized AI leader and you've done enough stuff around there. What future trends do you foresee for GCCs in leveraging AI and analytics? Because everyone's talking about it. But how do you, as a leader, see this being leveraged at its max?
Sure. I think with DeepSeek and also the new AI that's coming in, but I think, and also the big players like Nvidia stock and all of them getting impacted. There's a lot out there. But to me, when I look at AI opportunities and how GCCs are uniquely positioned today, I'll probably combine it in a couple of areas. So one is with look at hyper personalization at scale. Today, leaders are having to look at value and business impact, which means that we have moved beyond efficiency. India as a region or as a country has moved beyond efficiency, and we are looking at how can we drive automation, how can you make and also be in the center of business decision making across various functions. So to me, I definitely look at hyper personalization at scale to be first opportunity, which also means that it gives us the opportunity for us to engage directly with the customers with the talent of which most of the organizations believe that they're people centric, and some of these capabilities of AI to drive more tailored insights for the leaders. That's one. The second thing I also feel is probably around augmented decision making. And augmented decision making to me is not just about replacing tasks, but also about how can you look at GCC playing a pivotal role that can provide more actionable, explainable insights, make smarter decisions of where business can move faster, what opportunities have they missed as a business, and how are you kind of competing against your own competitors. That view of, the business leaders getting that 360-degree view, somewhere I feel would be tapped into in the future. And finally, when we talk about AI, being responsible enough, being ethical enough, that has been definitely crucial for all of us. So I'm looking at more AI ethics frameworks, making sure that AI solutions drive business values and regulatory standards, probably those three areas. But to me, and probably in the nascent phase, when you look at combining AI with IoT, that in itself will, or digital twins that we are talking about today, I think that opens up a huge arena of opportunity where you can bring more automation, business intelligence, and drive innovation with the core business strategy. That's in a nutshell, Suchita.
Fabulous. Thank you. Thank you so much for that response. And yes, some of the trends that you covered are those that are there. They're all over right now. And a lot of innovation hubs are actually trying to leverage an early start on some of those factors as well. So that's a lot covering the GCC space where you've been really showing a remarkable performance. Moving on to understanding you and knowing you more as a person.
Sure.
So this is a rapid fire round. I'll want a quick response from you. So what's that one app you can't go without on your phone at all?
Probably Instagram.
Oh wow!
Yeah, and
Really
yeah, I can't imagine my life without Insta. Following a lot of influencers and following some of the leaders, that's my first thing.
lovely. Thank you. And what's your favorite way to start the day? How do your mornings really shape?
I'm a morning person, so I start my day at 3 in the morning. First thing, yeah, I'm a very early raiser. The first thing I do is take care of my mind, body, and soul, about 1.5 hours of workout, and then getting into some reading and then head to office and all of that. So that's
That
how.
makes me ask you, what time do you go to bed if you wake up at 3?
Around 10:30ish. So
Okay.
I look forward to weekends to catch up on my sleep. Yeah.
And what's that one piece of advice you would give to your younger self, maybe 20 years ago?
Interesting question. I think when I think about one advice that I would probably give myself and where I am today is wish I were to be more embracing patience and also trusting in the process. I've always,
My God, exactly what I would tell myself.
yeah,
Sometimes being impatient also helps because you just kind of cut short the cycle and you're able to get to where you have to very fast. But yes, I never thought anyone would mention this because it's
yeah, no, I always go through self-doubting and also, kind of somewhere I get into that imposter syndrome, which also leads me there. But yeah, I wish I could give some of these advices and slow down.
goodness, that's lovely. It's such a pleasure talking to you.